the auto cue.
Okay, yes, that's true.
They said
That's
they're
true.
looking into it.
That's cool.
So.
That's promising then. Well, we got 5 people watching already.
Are we live now?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure people in the chat. Well, yes, we are live. People in the chat.
Oh,
We've probably been live for. It will have been live for 20 seconds when you ask, "Are we live?" Because the delay's like 30 seconds. But yeah, hello YouTube people. Nice that. Hello to the 5 people who've joined us so far. It's a good start. This is. I don't know quite what this is going to be, but it's going to be a Q&A of sorts, I guess we could say. Just a general little chit chat about Doctor Who. You can come and question friend of the channel, David. Hello, David. Are you happy to be here today to come and?
I'm delighted to be here today. It's very exciting.
How are you doing? How's lockdown life over in?
I'm good.
Birmingham?
Lockdown is just a bit monotonous, but fine. Just to sort of get with it,
Yeah.
Like, what can we do?
I mean, it's true. It's true.
Well, what can we do apart from do like YouTube live streams?
Indeed, exactly. Like I've tried to start doing a few so that people actually have interesting content to enjoy on my channel. That's not just Megan reacts and classic Who reviews that get about 100 views. Channel. Sorry.
I was saying that interesting content was a new thing for your channel, but you said something really interesting, which wasn't an amusing comment.
No, it's fine. Like I don't have much interesting content. Let's be realistic. Like my only interesting content is when other people come on and join me. So it's fine.
No, it's not shit. It's
not. But there we go. So today we are going to be answering your questions, and also if you are good fans of Doctor Who, you can help us out ahead of the quiz of Rassilon this evening. If you're joining the quiz of Rassilon, let us know in the chat. It'd be great to know that we're not just the only people. I mean, I know there's 250 people I think joining tonight, so.
Would you join the live stream or joining?
We're not going to get 250 people on this live stream. I'm sorry, David. We're not that famous.
It's a shame.
But yeah, they're going to be on the quiz. So if you want to help us out with, fun facts about either the Seeds of Death, the Long Game, or Soul on Earth and Journey's End, please do, because we need all the help we can get. When it's just
what were the other ones? Sorry,
I can't actually remember. They weren't episodes. I'll have to have a look and find out. But also, please just submit your questions so that we have stuff to talk about, frankly. You can ask David whatever you like about Doctor Who. I can't guarantee he'll give you an answer, but you can ask.
We can try.
And he might go, I don't want to answer that. But we're up to 17 people watching now, so that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Right.
I've got the other rounds if you're interested, Elliot.
Cool, yes, tell us. What are the other rounds?
Are Actor Facts by Toby Haddock, which we had a little practice of earlier.
Oh, yeah, we did, and it was a bit of a disaster.
It was a massive disaster, so we will discount that round from our final score.
Yeah.
Dudley Ditties, which you're meant to be an expert on.
I'm hopeful I can be good at it, half good at it. Yes, Dudley Simpson
very good
music.
on Doctor Who Music. People can check out our videos on Doctor Who Music, can't they?
Yes, they can go and enjoy us outside the Royal Albert Hall talking about Doctor Who Music. It's actually a really good video. I stumbled across it again this morning, and I thought, actually, I'm quite pleased with that one. We did a good job there.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, go search that. I think it's just called like Doctor Who Proms or Doctor Who Music or something like that. You'll be able to find it on the channel, or maybe I'll chuck
to me, it's called the Doctor Who 2019 prom because we went to the prom.
Yeah, we went to the proms. Just there was no prom for Doctor Who.
Just there was no prom, and it wasn't Doctor Who.
And there hasn't been a prom since 2013. It's really quite sad.
That is quite sad.
And it's now 2020, and I don't think there's ever going to be one again. Let's be realistic.
No, I wouldn't say that. I don't know in this iteration of the show.
Yeah, maybe if the show gets rested and starts again, then they might.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise not so much. So, and then Teddy's TARDIS Tunes is the last round I see.
Yes, which I love, but I've no idea.
Yeah, to be fair, you can't really revise that though, can you? So
no.
And nor particularly the music of Dudley Simpson, unless you go and listen to a load of music by Dudley Simpson.
Well, I'm presuming you've revised that already.
Well,
Elliot.
I have a bit, but the other challenge is that most of Dudley Simpson's music doesn't actually exist anymore. Bits of it do here and there through the 70s, but I think there's only 2 stories that Dudley composed in the 60s and 70s that actually exist in full, the whole soundtrack.
That's because most of it. I didn't realise that he did the 60s. I thought he was just the 70s.
No, he came in sort of later in Troughton era and did lots of stuff for that, and then all bar about 6 or 7 stories of the whole 70s because they loved him.
Fair enough.
And then you've got the rather bizarre soundtracks like Doctor and the Silurians, where you've got Kerry Blyton doing those bizarre sort of prehistoric type sort of sounding instruments and things. It's a very, very weird and odd thing. Right, we have some questions,
Oh,
Fleeson771 asks, post-COVID, do you guys think anything might be edited or changed in Revelation of the Daleks? Will Ryan and or Graham die? So do you think there'll be any, like, this situation, will that change anything in Revelation of the Daleks? For a start, because we know it's been filmed, which is good news.
it depends what's in Revelation of the Daleks, because
Revolution, sorry, not Revelation.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Revelation is a Sixth Doctor story, of course.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was talking about there. Because I can say from the shows that I'm working on, we've had to change episodes, which will be broadcast next year and haven't even been shot yet. And we've been told that we can't do things and we can't mention certain things.
Okay.
Casualty had an episode pulled recently, or I'll go to it. Also, there's something about them. So I think I've got no idea what's in the episode, but there are like across the board, there will be things that you can't say. I think in drama, or that you'll be told not to do or not to show for a bit.
And I think it'd be interesting from a production point of view as well when they can actually start filming the next series.
Yeah,
because they were obviously aiming for September, but in reality, is that going to be possible? Probably not.
Yeah, this is the constant thing that we talk about, because there's no sort of, even if we could all go back, there's going to be no sort of like social distancing on set. That's really difficult.
Exactly. You can't film a TV show with social distancing because it's going to look ridiculous.
No, and you also can't film it like on iPhones or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
so I mean, as much as we want Doctor Who to air maybe late next year, which was the original plan, I struggle to see that now, I think.
I don't know if they shoot in January,
but we're talking about Chris Chibnall Doctor Who here, not RTD or even Moffat.
Yeah, because Series 9, didn't that start shooting in January and then it was out in September?
Well, Series 8 and 9 were the great feat. In Series 8, they started in January, aired in August, and then the next year started January, aired September for Series 9. Shows it's very doable, but
it can, and they're longer.
It's like, nope, can't manage that. Start filming in November, can't air it until just after over a year later. Yeah. So I'm like, if they don't get filming till the start of next year, we're not going to get it till 2022. I don't think, which really sucks. But
no, it does.
Chris Chibnall era Doctor Who for you, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's a question though that we just can't answer really.
But I think we are at least lucky that we know they've filmed that episode, and so we know we are going to get a Christmas festive special of some sort this year, which is great news.
Hopefully will make it even more special, because it should be possibly will be one of the only new things on TV. Maybe if it goes that long.
Yeah, and hopefully that might get it the Christmas Day slot as well. You'd think if they haven't got anything else to show, you'd think a brand new episode of Doctor Who. Surely we've got nothing else. Let's chuck it on Christmas Day. But
hopefully,
who knows? Unless Chris has written it as a New Year's Day special again, and they reference New Year's Day or something in it, so they can't have it. I don't know, but I'm sure they'd just ADR that up if they needed to. So, or cut a couple of scenes. But right, what else have we got? Would you love to see Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor with just Yaz for Series 13, or a new companion being introduced? That's from Andrew.
I've thought about this so much. I've thought about this so much. Yes, but also no. Because she, like, I don't know, I feel like she could be brilliant, or it could be really boring and dull if there's no development and there's no character development and she doesn't push it. Because there was bits in the last series where she became really, really interesting, and there were bits where she became very, very reckless, and I was convinced that it was doing the tortured Series 1 thing where they were all sort of going to go against the Doctor, or they all go like, you know what I mean? And it never really happened. And then she didn't lose her independence, but it just wasn't really a feature going on later on.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I would love to see it. It depends how Ryan and Graham leave, though. Because if they
are we certain they're leaving for a start?
No, well,
I think it's likely. I think they should.
It's very likely.
I think the best thing for the show would be just Yaz and maybe one other new companion carrying in through Series 13. Because 2 series with the same 3 companions is definitely long enough.
Yeah. But they also feel like I told you this, I love them, but I don't feel like they're half as developed as Donna got developed in one series, or Martha grew in one series. There's been no... And it's like, well, why not? And so I want to spend more time with them, and I'd love to see Yaz do something else, but I don't know what it would be. But then you get the thing of, because I'm presuming that the next series will probably be Jodie Whittaker's last, sadly. I mean, it might not be.
I would guess that. But then the thing is, if it airs, let's say, in early to mid 2022, you've got the 60th anniversary the next year. Do you want to start the 60th anniversary with a new Doctor? I don't know.
Yeah,
So
and
does
there's
she hold on for that and then regenerate at the end of it like Matt did in 2013?
yeah, and I don't know. I don't know how to answer that
Yeah,
question.
it's a tricky one.
If Yaz could be developed and changed, then yes. If not, I'd like someone different in, but a completely different sort of feel to it. Not another gang. I
Yeah.
think you'd want
Yes.
one person.
Yeah. Personally,
That'd
like these last two series have made me realize how much I prefer a single companion and just the single Doctor
be,
companion relationship than a group of companions. Maybe I think it works in like this in Classic Who, but it just
and
doesn't work in New Who in the same way.
you write the stories differently as well when there's a
Yeah.
gang of people.
Yeah.
There's so much more that you can do, but also so much that you lose from it. It's
Yeah.
nice, and I've liked that we've gone. I like that we did it, but now I want to go back for a bit. I
Yeah.
don't want to
Yeah,
continuously.
exactly. I think I'm very ready for something a little bit different from
Yeah.
that point of view. Yeah, right. What
We,
other
to
comments have
be
we got here?
fair, sorry, just a
No, yeah,
last
go
point
for
on
it.
that. Series 12 is very different to Series 11. So
Yes.
Series
Oh yeah.
13 is very different to Series 12, and that'll be great.
Yeah,
And
and
that would
I
be.
think that's important. I think it's what like Moffat, for example, did every single series was usually in format wise was different from through
Yeah,
doing the split series and then having all two parters, no two parters, and just always trying to kind of mix it up slightly to keep people interested. I think was a really good idea, and I think it works quite
definitely.
well. Although it can work the other way because obviously RTD did the same thing for 4 years in a row, and it worked really well as well. So.
Yeah,
I think that Doctor Who's that kind of show where you can do so many different things with the format and it still work excellently.
Doctor Who can be anything. It's just a
Exactly.
story factory.
Exactly.
That's why I love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. A fact from Paul Android who says Dudley's first episode was Planet of Giants in the first Doctor's era. Might be a helpful fact.
Planet of Giants is the opener of season 2, I think.
Yes, it is.
There you go.
It was a story that was meant to be 4 parts, but then they cut it down to 3 parts. I can't quite remember why.
I think it was because the third part or the fourth part they just really didn't like, and there was nothing.
Yeah.
And the writing structure, so they just crammed it all together in the edit.
Yeah. But I think it was, didn't they hold that and Dalek Invasion of Earth over to the start of season 2 when they filmed it kind of as part of season 1? Because that's when Susan then left. So I think they filmed that all kind of in one run, from what I remember.
That would make complete sense, but I didn't realise that, actually.
I think that's the case, but I can't fully remember.
Fair enough.
Right. What are both of your favourite TV shows besides Doctor Who?
Oh, you go first.
I don't really have a good answer to that because, like, my go-to answer in the past would probably be a show like Broadchurch, just because as a drama, I think that's one of my favourite ones I've ever watched. But that's obviously not an ongoing show in the same way as Doctor Who is, so it's kind of hard to kind of pick one that's ongoing. So I don't really know fully.
I have lots. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go for it. Go for it.
Sure. I have lots. Just because I've got the DVD here. One of my favourite shows ever is the A Word series.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, absolutely adore this. Which
Chris
is
Eccleston
like,
in it.
Pardon?
Chris Eccleston in it, of course.
Chris Eccleston is in it, and it's just about a little boy who is diagnosed with autism, and it's a family drama, but it's nothing to do with autism at all. It's just the way that the family connect with each other and try and communicate, and they can't for various reasons. And it's just so funny and so emotional, and it's coming back for a third series in May. I adore this. Everyone who knows me knows that I absolutely love this show, and it just uses music brilliantly. The music becomes another character in it. The landscape is stunning, like visually. The characters are beautiful. And the acting's brilliant. So yeah, definitely check out the A Word. And then I was going to mention one other, which is something that I've only watched recently, which was Last Tango in Halifax.
Okay.
Which is another BBC drama with Anna Reid and Derek Jacobi. It's like a comedy drama sort of thing, which is actually my favourite format, comedy drama. Yeah. About two people who knew each other when they were teenagers, almost got together, really fancied each other, but nothing ever happened. And then they meet together again as pensioners, and they get married, and it's sort of how it affects again the rest of their family. And it's just got an amazing cast in it. And so, yeah, I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I've loved both of those shows.
Well, there you go, guys. There's a couple of recommendations.
There you go.
Go seek them out on whatever streaming platforms available in your country, wherever you may be watching. Is it on iPlayer? Excellent. If you're in the UK, there you go. There's what you can do for the next week of lockdown. I don't know, something like that. Right, we've actually got loads of questions. What's your favourite underrated piece of Doctor Who music? If you have any, like, you kind of like a piece of music you really like, either from the new or classic Who, where you're like, I don't think anybody knows about that, but I really like it.
Someone said the other day, and I thought, actually, it's brilliant. It's not going to be mine, but The Unicorn and the Wasp is great. Someone said that to me the other day, and I thought that was fantastic. I'd have to look at, like, soundtrack listings.
Yeah, that's the thing.
can we have like another question while I
While
think
you
about
do
it?
that,
Unless you've got an answer right now.
I'll do a question, and you can have a look and find something,
Okay.
or I'll have a look through some of the chat generally. Right. What? Why was
How
one
do
of the
I see
best?
the chat?
Hmm?
Sorry. Well, how do I see the chat?
If you just go on the YouTube stream and just open it in like a tab on your computer and just mute
Ah,
the video so that you can't hear yourself, 20 seconds delayed, then you can probably read all the comments. Be the easiest way.
great. Sorry.
That's fine. Somebody's asked, mainly me, why was one of the best music tracks of Doctor Who from The Waters of Mars when Tennant comes to ruin the day, and uses the TARDIS to save Adelaide and the others? The Time Lord Victorious released. So why was the Time Lord Victorious track not released? It's a good question. I can't answer it. The Waters of Mars has a brilliant soundtrack, and I don't know why half of it did not get released. The special soundtrack is pretty good, and the End of Time got massively well served. Like, there's about an hour of music from the End of Time. Like, plus it's brilliant. It's one of the best soundtracks Murray did. But yeah, unfortunately, the Waters of Mars was one of those where there's loads of great music in there, but some of its kind of variations are then used in the End of Time soundtrack that that's on the release, but a lot of it unfortunately didn't get released. I can't explain why. In Doctor Who's news, Doctor Who's soundtrack news, on Twitter, have you seen that from Murray Gold, David? Did you see he strongly hinted that a Series 10 soundtrack was in production of some sort or at some stage? He at the very least has not forgotten about it and just decided that he wasn't going to bother with it. Because somebody, I'm surprised he replied, quite frankly, because the message was pretty awful that he was replying to. Of somebody proper, like, not quite abusing him, but it was just a terrible message that they tweeted him, and then he did reply with a sort of positive sounding message. So I'm optimistic that we may get a Series 10 soundtrack at some point in the future, which would be pretty cool, I think.
That would be Christmas for you, wouldn't it?
It would be, to be fair. Yeah, like, that's the one thing that's missing. We've got everything except we've got 11 and 12, but we don't have 10. It's so frustrating.
Apart from, we don't have Sarah Jane as well, sadly,
Yeah,
which
true.
is going to be my underrated. I don't know if it is underrated. I think the music from Sarah Jane is wonderful.
No, there's some great stuff in there.
Absolutely beautiful. I can't name a specific track, but I've been watching it recently, and I've actually been listening to the Doctor Who soundtracks this week while I was at work.
Oh, yes.
And the Specials one, I think, is my favourite album.
Yes.
Actually, I've listened to that in years. But the Sarah Jane music is just absolutely brilliant. A lot of it's reused throughout the episodes, but it always fits the scene.
And by the way, the Sarah Jane, like, Minnesota thing they did was it last week? I can't remember. The full soundtrack to that has been released on YouTube, so you can go and listen to 13 minutes of completely clean Sarah Jane Adventures music, because it's all like different of the various themes they used back in the series are included in that. So something to check out there. But yeah, I certainly agree. Sarah Jane's got some great music in it. And to be fair, Torchwood has as well, actually. There's a lot of great stuff in the Torchwood soundtrack. Particularly Children on Earth, I've always thought was a really, really good soundtrack all around. It just really kind of, I don't know, fit the tone of this really kind of slightly sort of political, but also alien sci-fi thriller thing that just Children of Earth is just amazing, let's be honest.
I need to re-listen to it.
Yeah, it's worth it. Right. When do you think Jodie Whittaker will regenerate? Well, I mean, we kind of just talked about that and said we don't really know. But Series 13 is probably going to be her last full series, I think, I would say. What would you say?
Yeah, I would think so. But the thing that you say about the 60th does make sense. And she does seem to be very happy in it. I love her, and I'd love her to stay for as long as she wants to. So I can see her more, but I don't think... I don't know. It's really cool question, isn't it?
Yeah, so, I personally think she'll only stick with it if Chris does. I don't think she'll stay with another showrunner.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, I don't know where the show's going to go after Chris, quite frankly, because there doesn't seem any obvious candidates of people who want to run the show. Let's be realistic. Well, there doesn't seem to be any rumours or anything about anybody wanting to take on the show. But then Chris was kind of a surprise choice at the time to an extent, apart from his showrunning experience, which people like Toby Whithouse have had, obviously, but I don't know. He hasn't written for the show for years now, so who knows? We've heard that Chris had a 5-year plan. I think Jodie will stick around longer than you think, from Fleece and 771. I mean, the 5-year plan, in my opinion, is out the window now, because the 5-year plan was meant to be a series in 2018, a series in 2019, a series in 2020, and that didn't happen. Because Series 12 was meant to air in autumn 2019, with Series 13 airing the autumn of this year, and that's definitely not happening. So that part of the 5-year plan's gone out the window. So yeah, who knows what's going to happen there. What other questions have we got? Big Finish are great at handling the 3 companion thing, mainly with the 5th Doctor. There's the older Nyssa arc, Tegan, Nyssa, Turlo, and the more recent Adric, Tegan, Nyssa ones. Have you listened to much 5th Doctor Big Finish, David?
I haven't really.
No, neither have
the only one I remember listening to, obviously, like the multi-doctor stories I've listened to with it, and there was like the fanfare for the Common Men, which was like one set in the 1963 for the anniversary, which was good. I've just not really got around to it. I've mainly listened to the new series stuff.
No, that's fair enough.
But I do like, actually, I've always, like, on TV, I really like the Fifth Doctor, especially the Fifth Doctor, Tegan and Turlough are my favourites.
I mean, I still haven't seen enough of the Fifth Doctor's era, and I'm looking forward to when I eventually get to them in my marathon.
Where are you at your marathon?
I last watched Revenge of the Cybermen, so I'm about to start season 13. That's end of Tom's first season. Revenge of the Cybermen. It's not that bad. I mean, I have nostalgia because I'm pretty sure it's the first ever Classic Who story that I watched. Like, I think my mum got it on VHS out of the library or something in like 2005, 2006. So, like, I have a nostalgia for it more than it actually being a good story, because there's some pretty bad, like, plot flaws in there. Why on the planet Voga that's made of gold, and all these people who live there, the Cybermen turn up and they start shooting them with useless guns rather than thinking, we're on a planet of gold where gold is completely poisonous to the Cybermen and we'll destroy them. But we take 2 episodes not thinking that's something we're going to use to try and defeat them with, because that makes perfect sense. It's just, not great.
I've seen it once. I don't remember much about it. I love the idea of the Ark going returning to that. I think that's fantastic.
Yes, no, that's really clever. It's a great way to kind of utilise saving money, but also with a great plot idea behind it as well. And the kind of mini arc of season 12 actually works quite effectively. But the actual plot of Revenge is not so great. But yeah, right, what else have we got? Have you watched / heard The Crusades? I really enjoy it, says DW Siebling. Have you ever heard or seen The Crusades? Only 2 episodes exist, I believe.
I was going to say, I don't know much things. I don't know if you have got them. Doctor Who magazine did like telesnaps, special editions where they printed all. I remember reading The Crusades in that, and it always looked quite fun, actually. So that'd be one that I'd love to see returned or animated. I'd definitely like.
I mean, I know that episode 1 and 3, I think it is, of The Crusades exist at the moment in the archives. And it's been the one story that the people who make the animations have always talked about being extremely difficult to animate because of the amount of different sets and costumes and characters involved within the story.
Isn't it the same thing with Marco Polo as well?
Yes, I think so. I think it's those 2 stories in particular are ones that are really difficult from that point, because it's only 2 episodes missing of The Crusades, which doesn't sound too much when we've had like 6 episodes of The Faceless Ones animated. But the amount of different sets that need to be done in costumes and all that just mean it's down the line, if at all. I did watch it in the past, but honestly, I can't remember anything about it. Like, it was 2 years ago.
I love hardcore historicals though. Like, really, like, and that is like, if that was like returned or animated, I'd watch that in a heartbeat. I loved The Reign of Terror, which I don't know if many people like, which is the one set in the French Revolution. I thought was fantastic. I just love historical stories.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice. I think, David, we have had an email from the Quiz of Rassilon.
So
that's good news. Sorry, guys, we've had to sort out at the last minute the Quiz of Rassilon. Apparently, we didn't get registered.
Technically, I haven't had an email.
I've got an email.
Have you?
Hang on. It's to your BBC email.
Right, fine, that's fine. So I'm assuming that's the one with like the code.
Yeah, it's actually got it.
Great.
So
lovely. We are playing the quiz.
We are on the Quiz of Rassilon. So, guys, to the 27 people, hello. Thank you all for joining. If you have interesting facts or obscure facts about the long game, Stolen Earth and Journey's End, or the Seeds of Death, please, particularly the Seeds of Death, if you have some good facts about that, please post them in the chat so that we actually have a chance at this quiz, because we don't want to come last. We didn't come last time, to be fair. We came, what was it like?
No, we came second before last, didn't we?
Didn't we come like 38th? Or was it? I can't remember what the final result was. It was not great.
We had a fairly good score, but then because of the one round or something, the marks all changed and we went right down. Do you remember? It got reissued.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's
so
weird.
We're just not going to talk about that. We played the last one. It was fun. We had fun.
Yes.
But, we do okay with the new series ones, I think. But it's things like Seeds of Death, which I've never seen.
Yeah, I've seen it once, probably over a year ago. So that's not ideal. And I've seen it twice, but the last time was over a year ago.
I'm going to say that the Seeds of Death is not the Seeds of Doom, which is the 4th Doctor one, which you pointed out to me. It's the second Doctor one with the Ice Warriors. And that's how much I know.
It is. I Exist asks, what is the Quiz of Rassilon? Essentially, it's a quiz, a Doctor Who pub quiz is probably the best way to put it. That's normally held in London once every month in a pub in London, but at the moment, because of lockdown, they're doing it on Zoom, and so loads of extra people are joining, which means we can do it more than we normally used to do. And it's just great fun, really, just joining with loads of Doctor Who fans and answering questions about Doctor Who, different Doctor Who episodes. It's interesting and challenging.
It's a lot of fun.
Shout out to Megan. Megan is watching. Hello, Megan. How are you doing?
Hello, Megan.
Right?
I'm getting more views than you, Megan.
No, you're not. She got to like
No,
40 at one
I'm probably
point.
not. To be fair,
To be fair, 28 is better than maybe I was expecting. And better than what I did on my own by a long way. So that's good. Clearly, people do want to listen to you, which is good news. What other questions have we got here? We've got lots going on. Blah blah blah. The Talons of Wen Chiang is a wonderful story. What would
have you watched this? You must have watched Talons. I'm just going to say have you, but you must have.
I've watched Talons of Wen Chiang, of course. And Blobfish asks, "What is your favourite story from season 15 of Doctor Who? Do you know what stories are in season 15?"
This is a good question. So season 14 is the 1970 like 6 or 5. Six. Yeah, that was the question on the last quiz, and it's the Doctor Who magazine. So it's the series after that. It's the series. No, it's not the Key of Time, isn't it? That's
the one before that.
Okay, I'm getting that. I'm slowly
see,
getting
I've got the list up, so see how many you can get. It's your challenge.
Oh no, this isn't fair. Is Leela in it for more than one season, or does she just do the one season?
Leela does all of this season.
The Invisible Enemy.
That's in it. That's story number 2 of the season.
Yes. The Sunmakers.
Yes.
No. Oh.
Story number 4.
So Invasion of Time.
That is the last one of the season. Yes. 3 more to get.
Isn't there a story called Underworld?
There is, yes. That's quite an interesting story because they basically shot most of it on CSO and it looks awful. Because they thought, we haven't got any money, so let's just make all the background CSO. And
I've seen one of the Fourth Doctor and Leela on CSO, but it's not that one. So there's one where they go inside the Doctor's brain. Or no, that is the Invisible Enemy.
That's the Invisible Enemy. There's lots of CSO in that as well, but it's particularly bad in Underworld. And so there's 2 more stories: the opening story of the season and another one. They're both 4-part.
You just tell me what I've had so far.
So there's Missing One, Invisible Enemy, Missing One, Sunmakers, Underworld, Invasion of Time.
So I was very good. I got all of the rest of them.
Do you have? Terrence Dick script. It's the season opener.
I'm just thinking of the Doctor and Sarah Jane ones now. Hang on.
The one
Image of Fendal. Image of Fendal.
That's the 5th out of 6. There's one more. It's got Leela in it. It's the highest death toll in Classic Who.
The Robots of Death.
No.
Or
the one where all the side characters are killed. The Rootons.
I was never going to get that.
Horror of Fang Rock.
Oh, I thought you meant the thing was the Rooters. I have heard of the Horror of Fang Rock.
So out of those 6, now we've got to that, how many have you seen? Invasion of Time, I guess.
I've seen the Invasion of Time. I've seen the Invisible Enemy.
Okay.
And I don't think I've seen any of the rest of them.
So out of those 2, which would you prefer? Which is your favourite?
I think the Invisible Enemy, because that was quite fun.
I mean, I'm a sucker for a Gallifrey story, so I've got to say Invasion of Time.
I like the Invasion of Time. I have a soft spot for it, but it goes on too long.
Yeah, it is true.
And the Invisible Enemy is quite a nice idea. It's different.
Yes. No, I always used to like the Invisible Enemy as a kid as well. I don't know why. I just always used to particularly like it.
And it's got K9 in it.
It has, introductory story of K9. It's very true. It's very true. Okay. Right.
Was that the Quiz of Rassilon? If I just played it.
I mean, yes. That would get you. That's one of the Quiz of Rassilon. We have a Seeds of Death. We have some Seeds of Death facts. Firstly, the Seeds of Death should not be confused with the Seeds of Doom, as you mentioned. The Seeds of Death is about seeds that they grow in dead people, obviously. So, not true. Seeds of Death...
You say obviously, but I would not have thought that.
A legit Seeds of Death fact. When Zoe turns up at the heating, an ice warrior falls down dead right in front of her. When it does this, the front and rear sections of the shell costume just slightly break apart. Production error.
What?
So, when an ice warrior falls over, basically their costume falls apart.
Cool.
In episode 4, Phipps lifts Zoe up too high to get out of the air duct, and when he probably hits her head on the ceiling, even though she's tiny. What else have you got here? People naming all the season 15 stories. What have I missed? What's a classic Doctor Who story that you would watch while stuck in lockdown?
That's a good question.
I mean, I wouldn't pick Revenge of the Cybermen because episode 1 was all about a plague that was destroying all the crew on the ship, and I was like, oh my days, why am I watching this now? But yeah.
Do you know what I would watch, actually? Trial of the Time Lord.
I mean, it's 14 parts.
This is the thing. I like Trial of the Time Lord. I've only seen it like twice. But I remember enjoying it at the time. And there's a nice little thread, and I could do one per day. and that's like quite a like nice sort of thing. And I actually sort of quite like watching stuff which has a bit of like, because the vervoid, isn't that like an infection?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's
There's
like
a
4 years since I watched it, but
there's sort of like a dark irony in watching that now, which
yeah.
probably makes me a horrible person. I'm sorry, but like it's on TV, and I don't wish it
Yeah,
on anyone.
yeah.
But like, so yeah, I would probably pick Trial of the Time Lord because I haven't seen it in ages as well.
That is a good choice. Before I don't really know what I'd pick. Yeah, like I mean, I do quite like the Key to Time arc. To be fair, like there's actually some quite good stories in season 16.
Yeah,
Like
I've never seen that.
have you ever watched it?
No.
I mean, the Rebus operation is pretty good. Pirate Planet is like classic Douglas Adams script. It's really good. And then Andor Zatara and Stones of Blood are actually quite good stories as well. I mean, the last two are not so good, and the Armageddon Factor is not great. It's one of those classic like 6-parters that's at least 2 episodes too long, and it's really boring and padded and not
Yeah.
good. And just
The other one that I was going to maybe think of actually, I've got all the DVDs for the E-Space trilogy.
Oh yes, I still haven't seen it.
The ones that come after. Yeah, and like, so I've got the E-Space trilogy, and doesn't that lead into like Logopolis roughly? Or there's an episode and then there's Logopolis.
Yeah, so it's Keeper of Traken where the Master turns up again, and then Logopolis, and then Captain Alva.
So apart from Traken, which I think I have seen, I haven't seen any of those, so I'd do that sort of set because I've got a nice run there. I do want to do that, keep me busy.
There you go. If you've got the time, why not binge some classic Who? It's the way forward. I mean, now it's the opportunity for people to catch up on classic Who. Let's be honest.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Now more than ever, like BritBox has most of classic Who on it now, and it's not that awfully expensive a month, even if the software is the app is pretty awful. But
why is it awful?
It's just the Doctor Classic Who is really badly organised on the app. It's really messy, somewhere in the wrong places. You can't like skip through to like episode 3 of a story. I think you can only start from episode 1 or something like that. It's just really bad. So that's a shame. Boris Johnson is secretly the Absorbaloff, apparently.
I guess.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. Image of Fendal is a nice 15 story, says Michael Leparco. Dalek's Master Plan would be a good story to watch in lockdown.
Yeah.
It's not a bad suggestion, actually. 12 part. I mean, only 3 episodes exist, which is probably
the downside
to that. So you've got to go through.
You could reenact that, like yourself, just wandering around the house.
Yeah, I mean, reenacting Feast of Stephen might be quite interesting.
Why?
Well, have you never listened to Feast of Stephen?
No.
It's the original Doctor Who Christmas special.
I know he said Merry Christmas to you all at home.
But they end up on like a Hollywood film set halfway through in the middle of some random filming of a Hollywood movie.
Do they?
It's the most bizarre thing you'll ever listen to. Like there's basically no telesnaps that exist of it, so it's like there's barely any visual footage of it at all. But the whole soundtrack's there, and it's just I can't say you'll know what's going on, but it's interesting. It's a bit different.
That sounds like Doctor Who, to be fair.
The Romans was a fun historical with Hartnell. Have you seen The Romans?
I haven't seen The Romans, but I do have the DVD down there.
From what I remember, it's almost like a comedy. And
really?
You have like whoever the main like Roman dude is. I can't remember. Is it Julius Caesar? I can't really remember. But whoever it is in there, I'm terrible with history, is like basically just playing a completely ridiculous comedic character who like is chasing Barbara around in a slightly inappropriate way through half the story, from what I remember.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very much played for laughs as a story, I think, more than being a serious historical. But it's quite good from what I remember.
The other historical I'd really like to see, actually, and I haven't got around to, is the Aztecs.
Oh yeah, that is a really good one, to be fair. It's definitely worth watching. Actually, I've got the DVD of this in my drawer. Did I not give it to you somewhere?
You haven't yet. You haven't yet.
I mean, I should.
When that collection box set comes out, don't worry, I'll come knocking.
No, but I've got a backup copy of it because I bought the special edition. So I've got a spare copy of the Aztecs DVD, the original release from like 2003 or something. And yeah, I mean the picture quality is not great because it's before they realised how to like restore episodes properly on DVD, basically.
Okay. I want to get the special edition one day. I'll see what it's like on Amazon. They do quite cheap sometimes.
Yeah, they're usually like £7 or something, aren't they? It's not too bad. Wait, I thought Regeneration of the Daleks is the highest death count. That is true. I have a feeling that Resurrection maybe has the highest death count, but I think Horror of Fang Rock is the one where all the side characters are killed, from what I remember.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, Elliot, because I don't.
It's fine. It's fine. No, that's true. That is true.
I was listening to a podcast which is like the Doctor Who Writers Room or something, where they just talk about the writers of Who. It's really interesting, and they were talking. I think they were talking about Eric Saywood, who wrote that. and they were like, everyone died. Sort of like it's got the highest count. I was like,
Yeah.
I remember someone saying that.
Yes.
Sorry, go on.
No, that's fine. The Invasion of Time is 4 parts a great story and 2 parts a rubbish story. Yeah.
No, it's 4 parts a great story and 2 parts walking along the same corridor in different directions.
Yes, which as an 8-year-old I loved because it was supposedly seeing inside the TARDIS, but then you realise it's just corridors of a old mental hospital, and it's not quite as exciting.
Which is quite freaky as well.
Yes.
That is quite weird.
But the Centaurans are very clearly like, we need to pad the plot out for 2 episodes, so let's bring in the Centaurans.
Yeah. Do you know what though? Episodes like that I love. I know we're going off topic here, but like Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, I don't care what anyone says
I
about
like
that.
it.
Brilliant.
I mean, some of the acting, I agree, is not good.
Yeah.
Like, it's bad, but as a story, it's good fun. I like it. I love seeing inside the TARDIS and actually seeing how limitless it is. It's great.
Yeah. I'm not looking like I don't care about the story in that sort of way. It's fine. I'm not bothered about like plot holes or acting. Yeah. It's you're looking at that for like the design of it, or like just doing enjoyment and to be an 8-year-old and think how big the TARDIS is. I love the scene where they're like in the TARDIS when it's exploded and it's all like.
Yes. Oh yeah, that looks so cool.
It's brilliant.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Genesis of the Daleks / Inferno would be great watches for lockdown.
I've seen Genesis. I haven't got all the way through Inferno.
Have you never watched all of Inferno? Oh, it's a great story. I must
have done. I remember borrowing the DVD off someone. It
wasn't me.
At work. No, it wasn't you. And they gave me the DVD, and I must have.
I mean, it's a 7-parter, so it's quite a long watch.
Oh.
It's one of the season 7-parters.
I don't know. I'd like to say this is the thing. I would say that I haven't seen something. I probably have watched it like in the background on Daily Motion while doing something else. Or do you know what I mean? And then I just forget about it.
Right. I'm lucky enough to have a complete classic DVD collection. I've watched all of them. Yep, I'm that sad. I mean, you're not sad if you've seen all of Classic Who. I'm sad because I haven't seen all of Classic Who.
That's fair.
I need to get there. Like, I have most of a DVD collection, but now I'm going for the Blu-ray collection, as you well know, David. I'm very nervous about the upcoming release of season 14 because it's meant to be released a week on Monday. But nobody really knows if it's actually going to come out or not, or if like the orders will get lost in the post, or it will just be a disaster. And because they're so limited, I might not get a copy, and it would be the end of the world. Because
I don't know what I'd do then.
It's just because there's already I've got 6 so far, and to have one gap out of 26 would be awful. Let's be honest. So like, yeah, I can understand the people who never got season 12. Like that was a rough time.
No, and now hasn't the new season 12's got the wrong sticker on the discs or something?
No, they sent it out with season 10 Blu-ray discs in the trays, not season 12. It was just the most bizarre thing I've ever heard of. That Amazon was sending out season 12 box sets and you open it up and there's those season 10 discs in there instead. It's crazy. So I'm doing that. Come back to the E-Space trilogy. So I Exist says it's one of the best ever bits of Doctor Who in my opinion. So I hope you enjoy it too. So there you go. A recommendation there.
I've always loved the idea because it's like there's E-Space and N-Space, and I don't really understand anything more than that. That it's alternate sort of like but I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. We've got a fact about the long game. Apparently, Russell T Davies submitted a version of the long game to the Doctor Who production team in the early 80s, and they rejected it. I'm told.
Really?
By Paul Android. Yes, it's a great fact. There's some debate because apparently Russell wasn't around in the 80s, but Paul Android says but he sent it in when he was in his late teens / early 20s.
Hang on, but that can't be the same thing because you can't be around in the 80s and be in your late teens / early 20s. 80s.
Shall we have a look on the Wikipedia page and see if that's a fact on there? Because that's a great fact, to be fair, if that's true. Let's have a look. Production. Oh, he even gave another work. Here we go. According to Davies, the concept of the long game was originally written in the early 1980s and submitted to the Doctor Who production office. Whether it was ever read by the production team at the time is unclear, as Davies received a rejection from the BBC script unit, who advised him to write more realistic television about a man and his mortgage instead. Davies reworked the story for the new series. So there you go. That's a cool fact. That
is actually a really
cool fact. The
long
game was submitted for a mid-80s season. I mean, do you think the long game could fit into the 80s?
Well, it'd be quite long, wouldn't it? Like the long game is a nice sort of like 45 minutes, but then to make it 2 hours, I don't know if I'd like that. I think it's a great story though.
I watched it this morning in preparation, and it was actually it's not that bad, to be fair. Like, no. I mean, I don't fundamentally understand why they decided to carry Adam on into that episode, because there's nothing likable about him, and I
like that though, because that's why, because you're showing that some people just can't hack
I
it.
guess so. It just, I don't know. It just felt like a kind of subplot I didn't really care about within the story.
I don't know, because otherwise you wouldn't see that sort of like if you just had Rose and then later Jack, and like
That's
Mickey's
true.
too much, Mickey's too wet to try anything like that. Adam's such a twat that he will go and like get his brain to,
Shit.
like
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I don't know.
And
I
give
love that.
Tamsin Greig something to do as well, because she was obviously quite a. I don't know. Is she a reasonable name guest star for that episode? I feel like she is.
I think she is. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Simon Pegg as
Yeah, of
well.
course. Yeah,
Very
he's
big.
pretty famous to get him in a
You know
Doctor
what I've
episode.
just thought? It's the mother. It's Adam's mother, Gwen from Gavin and Stacey. Because I'm replaying the bit in my head when she's at the end and it's like that, and it sounds like Gwen in my head.
No, it's played by Judy Holt, who.
Oh, probably not then.
What's she face? She's not really famous for anything. Most famous for her role as Elaine Fishwick in At Home with the Braithwaites, and her role as Leslie Kershaw in Coronation Street.
Fair enough. Well, the only thing that I think should be changed about the long game is that the role should be played by Gwen in Gavin and Stacey and be Gwen in Gavin and Stacey.
Yes, I agree.
That would make it brilliant. But yeah, there we go.
What other cool facts has Wikipedia got about that episode? I wonder. Originally, Russ Davies claims that he had originally set out to write the episode from Adam's perspective, watching the adventure unfold from his point of view, exactly as Rose did in Rose, and seeing both the Rose and Doctor and Rose as enigmatic, frightening characters. The working title of the episode was Adam, but then another working title of the story was The Companion Who Couldn't.
Yeah, there you go. That would be really interesting though.
If
you did the classic thing of do the episode from Rose's point of view, or like to halfway, and then go back and do it from Adam's point of view. I'd love that. Yes, I love it when they do that on TV. Sorry, go on.
But obviously, it's a shame how Bruno Langley's turned out as a person since then. Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not so great.
That's not where we just.
It's a bit kind of slightly weird knowing that in the back of your mind to watch him in the episode now. I find not massively, but just a little bit. Just like it's there. But can you say the name of the alien from that episode? That's the question.
The mighty Jagrafess of the holy something. Oh, the holy something. I don't know. No.
The mighty Jagrafess of the holy Hadrajasic Maxaradanfo.
That one. That's what I was going to say.
Apparently, unsurprisingly, Simon Pegg said he found it very difficult to say that line. Yeah.
Do you know, but like that would be the sort of thing where there's someone like me who's phoned up and be like, can you tell the actor how to pronounce it? And you have to go, well, if this was made now, you'd go on WhatsApp and you just record yourself saying it 5,000 times and just send it over. It's not fun.
Oh dear. Right, what else have we got here? I also love Crimson Horror and Nightmare in Silver. A couple of random episodes that people are liking. Do you like Crimson Horror or Nightmare in Silver?
I remember thinking and reading that Nightmare in Silver is a mess. A little bit.
I mean, it's not. It is a bit of a mess, probably.
Yeah.
It's a great performance for Matt Smith, but apart from that, it's not great.
Yes, actually, no, that's brilliant. I haven't watched it in ages, so I can't really remember most of it. I remember thinking it's all right. So like, it's fine. I wouldn't really go back and like. That's not one that I'm like, oh, I must rewatch. The same with the Crimson Horror. I think it's fun. It's cool. Like, it's not one that I'd really go back and watch, but I think it's probably quite a sort of good standard episode of Doctor Who.
But for me, that basically describes Series 7 of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
In general, to be honest, both parts of Series 7. Like, there's very few episodes there that are kind of amazing, but there's also not many that I would say are awful. It's kind of just sort of.
Maybe controversially, Sorry, I didn't mean
to.
Go
for it.
It's kind of out. I controversially love the start of Series 7. I think Simon of the Daleks is great. Okay. I love A Town Called Mercy, Dinosaurs and Space. Actually, I love all 5 of them. I think they're brilliant.
I do. I've really always liked Power of Three, to be fair. I think Power of Three, it's a shame that it's not longer or a two-parter. But I do really enjoy it as a story. Angels Take Manhattan is also, I think, a pretty reasonable ending for Amy and Rory as well. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to rewatch this to see if it's actually true. But in my head, there's a lot more color in them compared to like series at the end of Series 6, which is really cool. And then it just gets very cool, very very colorful and very big.
Yeah.
And sort of like every steps up. I think for the start of that, which I really like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's glitching out a little bit. Apologies for the occasional glitches on the stream, guys. I don't know why David's camera's glitched out, but it has. It will probably fix itself at some point. So, yeah, we hope.
Probably.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. Right. What are the long? I think the last series was highly underrated. I don't understand all the hate. People praise Series 2 and Tenant, but compared to Series 12, it was subpar. What do you think?
Say that again.
Series 2 or Series 12?
I say Series 12 actually.
I agree.
I love Series 2. Series 2 started on my birthday. David Tennant is my doctor sort of thing. I was perfect age, absolutely dog hole thing. But right now I'd watch The Fugitive with the Jadine over and over again.
Yes.
I think that's so exciting to me, or Spyfall, or like the finale, or the Nikola Tesla one. I think is really, really fun. I think Series 2 has some great stories, like The Impossible Planet. It's brilliant. Yeah. But I don't feel like I need to go and rewatch that now, partly because I've seen it so many times, and I haven't seen Series 12 that many times.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think they're both brilliant. I think the one thing that I would say is Series 12 is very different to Series 11, as we said earlier. Yeah. I wouldn't say Series 2 is that different to Series 1. It's just bigger, and it's more vast, and you go out in space more.
Yes.
But I don't feel like there's much for seismic change in it. There is.
I mean, I think Series 2 probably had the hype at the time because Doctor Who was kind of hitting that massive wave straight away of, wow, the show is amazing, like very mainstream kind of soap opera drama with a bit of sci-fi in it, with the whole Rose-Doctor relationship and everything. Of course, that was going to catch the audience's attention more so necessarily than lots of good stories in there because, well, you've got Love and Monsters and Fear Her back to back. You've got The Idiot's Lantern in there. New Earth starts the series. It's like there's a lot of average episodes in there.
Do you remember when it was like sort of like announced, or they revealed that it was going to be the Daleks first and the Cybermen as well? Like the excitement of that.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I remember having like pajamas with that poster on it, and it was like
it was just the most thrilling moment as a kid to have an episode where it's the Daleks and the Cybermen in the same episode. I'm sorry, what? This is crazy.
Absolutely.
And then the whole Rose storyline as well to end that out is just like it's what you want from a finale, but it's also like it doesn't make a series, I think, is probably the way to put it. So I would probably lean towards Series 12 as well, to be fair.
Yeah. That might change for me though, like when I'm like 10 years on from Series 12,
exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like, I don't know.
I mean, I think personally Series 11 is always going to be my least favourite series of New Who.
What series have we got? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't like being like. I'm not trying to just say it. I don't like being negative because I will always
hate
enjoy Doctor Who in some sort of way.
Yeah.
I'll find something to enjoy in all of Doctor Who.
Exactly.
Probably though, I would agree. Probably like I can think of because I'm thinking, oh, maybe this series, but then actually I'm like, no, I really like some of these stories over that one. So yeah.
Yeah. What else have we got at the moment? Right. Apparently, At Home with the Braithwaites that I mentioned that Adam's mum was in was a fun comedy drama on ITV in the 1990s, starring Peter Davison.
There you go.
See, gotta love the facts of Doctor Who fans right here. You know, it's great.
That might come in on the actors round, so we should.
That's true. There we go. We're sorted. Thanks, guys. What do you think about Target books?
What do I think about Target?
Have you read any?
I do. I've actually got one propping up. Well, just by my iPad here, I've got The Day of the Doctor.
I want to read that.
I have different thoughts because I've got loads. I'm just looking at my bookcase actually. I've got loads that I haven't read yet, which I've had from friends. Or there's a shop in Hertford in like where is it? Yeah, in Hatfield. There's a shop in Hatfield. Which is like a free bookshop. I don't really understand how it works. I think you just donate, but they don't ask for any money. It's just sort of like to try and get people reading. And there's loads of Target books in there, so I just did. I got those. I've only actually read the new series ones. So Rose, The Day of the Doctor, and what was the other ones they did? Twice Upon a Time, and then Christmas Invasion. I loved The first three. I wasn't such a keen fan of the Christmas Invasion.
Fair enough.
But so yeah, I really like them. I love them when they're different. I think that's the thing. There's no point in just doing a transcript, which is what this Christmas Invasion one felt like to me. So I loved, especially like the Day of the Doctor and the Race. I thought they were great. And then the other ones actually that I have read are the Douglas Adams books, which I think do sort of count target books.
Yeah.
So I've got Shada and the City of Death, and I thought they were brilliant. I loved reading those actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How about you?
I think recently I got my first Target novels from like what I best I can describe as like an antique store in a place called Lewis down on the coast of the UK. With Megan, we went over there and went around this shop and suddenly discovered like a massive like Doctor Who zone where there was just like loads of old merchandise and books and stuff that some of it was probably quite rare. I just didn't know it.
That's like my dream. Were there any figures there?
I can't remember. There might have been a few, but I can't remember. We might go back there at some point, so I'll have another look.
You take a photo or like message me.
I will let you know. And what did I get? I can't remember what they're all called, but I got the novelization of the Invasion of the Dinosaurs. I got Colony in Space, because why not, and The 10th Planet. So I haven't actually properly read any of them yet, but I've got them and they're ready to read. And I do love the idea of target novels as well, just like the sort of original idea of like just basically easy books for kids to start reading with and things like that, but also like Doctor Who stories, and just the idea that back then they were the only way you could like relive a story once it aired on TV. And so kind of you'd almost have this mythology of the book, and then actually when you saw it again 20 years later, it was actually almost sometimes worse than what the book you'd kind of built it out to be in the book. And
the book is the budgetless version.
Yeah, exactly.
It will always think that.
Yeah.
But I also think the artwork is beautiful on them. Like I think it's Day of the Daleks or Death to the Daleks is the one with the Dalek in the middle, and it's all sort of like, I think that's iconic. And like that, it's sort of like there's so much artwork that was produced for Doctor Who for those reasons. So I think they're really important for that reason as well.
Yeah. Okay. What else have we got? Power of Three has the most disappointing ending ever. It's pretty poor.
Yes, but it also isn't, because Brian stays behind and it's sad, and it's like they're all going to die, or this is the end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
But I'm also like, from plot wise, it's a bit like I don't really understand.
But then it's mainly because of Stephen Burkoff being awful on set, from as far as we know. And him causing major issues in having to just completely mess around with the script at the end to try and get any sort of ending to the story. So, that's not ideal. Apparently, Chance Houston says The Power of Three is literally my 6th favorite New Who story. So that's a pretty high ranking.
Good.
It's pretty impressive.
That is it. That's a great ranking.
I enjoy more episodes in Series 12, but Series 2 has some pretty good episodes that I like. So a bit of a mixed bag. A big criticism I have of Series 12 is there's too much of it is set on Earth. That is very true. Literally, the whole series is set on Earth except for the finale.
That's true. Oh, I hadn't realised that. Yeah, fair enough.
Because Order 55 turns out to be Earth.
Isn't that interesting, though? Because Series 1, isn't all of Series 1 set on Earth?
Or space stations.
Or space stations. Yeah. And then Series 2 is quite spacey, or fairly spacey.
Yeah.
And then Series 11 was was Series 11 very spacey? I feel like it was more...
The Ghost Monument was on another planet. Saranga Conundrum was on a space station.
Technically, Kabam is another planet, I think.
Yes, I think that was the planet of Kablam.
That was more travelling, it felt like.
And then we went to the anti-zone in It Takes You Away, and to wherever and then to Ranskorav Koloss for the legendary Series 11 finale that was. Don't we love that episode, David?
Yeah. Oh, look, we love that episode. That I've seen once, twice, maybe.
I think I've seen it twice. Once when it aired, and once in my rewatch for Series 12, and it didn't really improve. So yeah, sad times.
But I think that's really interesting how that inverted, because it does feel like there's more travel in Series 2 and Series 11, but more Earth-based in Series 1 and 12.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's sort of an inversion.
But you wonder if it was a conscious choice in Series 12, or if it just kind of happened by accident. I don't know. But,
well, I didn't realise it until we've just said it now.
But that was a criticism I saw in some like YouTube comments and stuff from at a time. They were like, "Oh, look, another episode set on Earth. Are we really going to keep on going that way?" Because it was very consistently set on Earth, which was a shame.
Then hopefully then Series 13 will be more space.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the more space you have, the more money it costs.
Yeah, I wonder. I think Revolution of the Daleks is going to be reasonably set on Earth, I would imagine,
Yeah.
given the shots of the Daleks on Clifton Suspension Bridge. I can't imagine that's meant to be some planet. That's probably going to be Earth.
No, I would imagine so.
So that's another one to add to the list. But there we go. Apparently, I Exist here says doesn't like series 3. Says the only good episodes are Human Nature, The Family of Blood, and Blink, and the rest is very meh. So really, compared to that, series 11 is a decent track record in my opinion. But yeah, people are not agreeing with that. Like Utopia's a classic, really.
Utopia was brilliant. I love it.
I tend to agree.
I really like the ending. I really like the Centrums and Last of the Time Lords.
Yeah.
What other episodes are there in series 3? So you got Smith and Jones, which I think is a great.
I always found like the first half was kind of average to okay, and then from like Human Nature onwards, it's just like consistently good to the end of the series.
Yeah. Gridlock, I think.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it. So no more than that. What's the second one? The Shakespeare Code, which is all right. Again,
the Dalek two-parter's not great.
Well, everyone says that, but I really don't mind it because it's very colourful and it's like I really like the Dalek hybrid thing. I think that's really cool. Makes a very cool action figure.
I remember you picked in your underrated episodes video you picked the Lazarus Experiment and maybe even 42 as well as your like underrated episodes. I think you did, from what I remember. Do you still agree with that?
I don't know because I can't remember them. I remember what happens. I just don't remember what last watching them. I think 42 is a really cool idea. I think that is a really cool idea, and there's some nice characters in that. And the bit where like Martha gets ejected is fantastic. No one can deny that is brilliant.
Yeah.
And then the Lazarus Experiment is really quite cool with the whole idea of him making himself younger and then becoming the monster. I think that's just a nice sort of monster sort of thing. I get what that person means.
I think it's one of the weakest examples of CGI in New Who, though.
See, I don't know if my brain just doesn't work that way, but I don't get it when everyone's like, "Oh, that's terrible CGI." It's like I'm just like, well, no, it's just in front of me. I don't know what.
I find that with Classic Who, I look past it, but sometimes with New Who, it kind of bothers me a bit more. I don't know why I'm able to like accept it more with Classic Who than New Who, but but then I've been watching back Series 1, and actually a lot of Series 1 CGI I don't think is that bad. Particularly like I watched Dalek earlier this week, and genuinely that episode could have been made last year, and it still completely lives up and like holds up today. There's nothing in it that looks outdated or anything like that, at least in my opinion.
And like the really Reapers impressive as well, I always love.
Yeah, no, they're really good, to be fair.
Great.
Yeah,
and like they're visually very good.
But, absolutely.
Yeah.
Golden Apple Review says the Lazarus Experiment is underrated, so you're not on your own there.
Yes.
Which is good. Have you seen an episode called Enlightenment ever?
Oh, that sounds been.
It's a Fifth Doctor story with the Black Guardian in it. I think because I haven't seen it.
I have seen it, but it's another one that I listened to the podcast about, and I listened to them talk about the writer of it. Wasn't it written by a female writer, or the only female writer, or this?
That
might not have been actually.
Yeah.
Or there's like, isn't there like 2 episodes that are connected as well? There's like 2 stories.
Yes, it's like I think it's like a 3-story arc from what I remember.
Yeah,
it's Mordred Undead, Terminus, and Enlightenment. I think are like kind of loosely linked as like the Black Guardian or the Guardians trilogy, or something. I think like that. Yes, it's written by Barbara Clegg.
There you go.
One of the few ones written by a woman, I would assume, because let's be real, hardly any of Classic Who or Doctor Who in general is written by women.
Apart from Jane Baker, I think she's the only other one.
And it's directed by a woman as well, Fiona Cumming.
Yeah, and I think it's meant to be quite highly rated. I haven't seen it, but I'd be very interested in seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get to it, but no, I haven't up to now.
I haven't seen it. The one thing I do know about it is the Black Guardian. I think the Black Guardian, the Turlo sort of works for Black Guardian or something like that. Yeah. Which is a great idea. So like just a really nice sort of thing to put against the Doctor. It's like it's not sort of like, oh my god, I've thought of this really new idea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's nice. Yeah, I like it.
Right. Logstrom says I literally can't watch the Series 3 Dalek 2-parter. So somebody really doesn't like that there.
It's got Spider-Man in it. It's got Andrew Garfield in it. What more do you need?
Yeah, it is pretty cool. But then the next comment below from Fleeson says, I love the rage in 10. They survive. They always survive while I lose everything in Daleks Manhattan, which is a great line at the end of the episode. And when he like has to like save somebody because he's just so like angry at the Daleks always getting away and escaping and succeeding. And how very frustrating that is for the Doctor. I mean, that's what happens when you have an arch enemy. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't really have them, but I'm assuming so.
We've all right. Another classic Who story. I don't know if you've seen Greatest Show in the Galaxy.
Greatest Show in the Galaxy. No, but it is on my list. No, I'd
Okay.
really like to see that one.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. We're doing quite badly in like giving you opinions on
We
classic Who
are.
stories. If you ask me about
We
the Pertwee
always-
era or the Tom Baker era, I can answer that, but I'm not so great on 80s Who at the moment. I will be in like the next 2 years, but not right now.
I love the Seventh Doctor, and I would have watched it had we done our location video,
Oh yes.
because I think the Greatest Show in the Galaxy was the one that was filmed at BBC Elstree because they couldn't get a studio or something.
Oh, was
So it's
it?
filmed- yeah, it was filmed in the car park of BBC Elstree,
Oh, very
and like
interesting.
so, yeah, like I've always that's the one thing, and I think there's the explosion with I think that was the explosion with Sylvester McCoy,
Yeah.
which they didn't think was going to be so big, and he like
Oh,
burnt
yeah,
back
yes.
in or something.
Yes, a tent was erected in the car park at BBC Elstree Centre where the crew
Yeah.
completed all sequences previously scheduled for the studio. Because of these discovery of asbestos at the BBC.
Ah, classic.
Which meant it nearly met the same fate as Sharda in being cancelled. So, came close to the edge there, which is very interesting. Right. What are your thoughts on showrunners giving a nod to / adapting their storylines? For example, in The Rings of Akaten, the Doctor says he watched until there was nothing left. Just me. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. I don't quite know what they're getting at there, to be fair.
No, I don't.
I'm
I
getting
don't
a bit
quite.
confused. Sorry, David. If you we might. The commentator is called David as well as you. His name is David Randall. Apologies, we're not quite understanding that. Maybe I'm just getting confused. But if you can reiterate that, it'd be brilliant. Rona Munro, who wrote Survival and the Leaders of Light, of course. Yes, another female writer there.
Course,
and to be fair, series Chibnall has brought in some female writers, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So he's finally that's one of the few good things he's done for the show, should we say? Is
there was a writer for Series 10, I think, Sarah Dollard.
yes, well, she was in Series 9 and 10. She's in episode
Loved
both.
her. I miss her. I miss her. Right.
Yeah, I'd like her to be back. The CGI in the Lazarus experiment makes me laugh, which is probably the best compliment I can give it. Says Tyler Davidson.
That's fair enough, but wouldn't that have been made a sick action figure? I'm sorry, everything sort of comes back to the action figures with me.
True. Fair enough.
So I apologise. But that would have been an amazing figure. And I was just like, I'm always just gutted that we never got that.
Oh my days. Right, I've decided what we're going to do now. I'm going to have a little look at the Seas of Death wiki page and see if we can find out some facts about Seas of Death, because I feel like... Thanks, guys, for people who have commented. If you have any more comments about Seas of Death, please tell us, because we need them. What are the interesting facts they've got? Actually, I should look on TARDIS Wiki, because that's probably got more interesting facts than normal Wikipedia.
I always go for like the story notes or the references part on there,
because that at least might give. But then, I mean, the one thing I'm holding out on for the long game this evening is what was it? It was 96 million people live on the Earth in the fourth great and bountiful human empire. That is my big fact I'm holding out on being a question.
I'm pretty sure on Bad Wolf TV as well in the long game that the Faceable gives birth.
Yes. Yep. They announced his pregnancy.
Oh, is it the announcement of the pregnancy?
Yes, it is, exactly.
I remember that bit.
There we go. That's good. They're on floor 139. Is where the main floor where their story is set, and then they go to floor 500.
And then they go. I was going to say the floor 500. That's the one that I remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember what floor Tamsin Greg is on.
16. 16.
16. I was going to say 78. There you go.
See, these might actually be useful facts. I don't know. We'll find out.
I think it's much more fun when we don't revise, though.
Okay, yeah, it's true. But I feel like we haven't gone like nerdy in-depth revision of like, let's write down all these facts about the episode on a bit of paper that we can have next to us when we do it.
Well, we've done it differently, hasn't it? We've got our third team member Fergus, who I think has seen them all.
Well, yeah, he's probably currently watching The Soul on Earth / Journey's End.
Is he?
Well, he said he's going to watch it this afternoon, so
he's having a ball.
It's great. I mean, they're great episodes. It'd be good fun to watch.
That's not very supportive, but we'll ask them about that later.
But we've still got 28 people watching, even after over an hour of this stream. So I'm quite pleased with that, to be fair.
That is
usually
very
it
good.
drops off. But thank you to everybody who's sticking with us and still tuning in and enjoying it.
You've watched Long Game.
Yes.
And just generally know anything and everything. And I I've not watched any of them. Just yeah, I'm just sort of leaving it to you. I'm just relying that something will come to me at the time.
It's fine. Apparently, the working title for the Seas of Death was The Lords of the Red Planet.
The Lords of the rest.
Of the Red Planet. The Lords of the Red
I thought you
Planet.
said the Lols, and I was
No.
like, it can't be the Lols. Surely.
This is the only story to feature footage of an ice warrior on location, where in episode 4, an ice warrior was filmed on Hampstead Heath in London.
Fair enough.
There's actually some really cool shots that the director Michael Ferguson does of like a low angle shot in like a sunrise of an ice warrior, and you can see like the massive like lens flare sort of distorted sun in the background, and it's this really like ominous shot of a ice warrior. Like Michael Ferguson, I think he directed Ambassadors of Death among other stories. He's actually one of the really, really good directors of like classic Who. He's really good at like action stories and things.
Is he the one that got the helicopter for like?
Yes, I think so. Oh no, there was it was all the vehicles in Ambassadors of Death that he got hold of, because Ambassadors of Death has got like the massive truck transporter where they transport the like rocket when it's landed back onto Earth, and then there's a massive fight with like helicopters and people jumping off them and motorbikes and a guy like jumping off a motorbike and breaking his arm, and like it's exciting. So
I think I was thinking of Michael E. Bryant, who did the Robots of Death, and I think did the like Solos, or he had a helicopter flight.
He did the Sea Devils. Yeah, he did the Sea Devils. He did Revenge of the Cybermen as well, so I saw him in the documentary of that this week. He's actually one of my favourite directors as well. He's some of them are really good on interviews and stuff, and he's one of the ones who's actually really quite sort of good and entertaining on interviews and things. He's just he kind of he was telling a story about how Wookiee Hole, where they filmed all the location scenes for Revenge of the Cybermen, is supposedly haunted. And he was doing his like recce in there on his own after hours in the caves, and he saw somebody in a wetsuit walking down, and then he went out afterwards and found out nobody had ever come down there. And
I've seen that.
And then when Elizabeth Sladen nearly gets killed as well, when she's on some boat that's about to plunge down some massive like dip in some in like a river and drop down some massive hole or something, and Terry Walsh had to jump into the water and save her, otherwise she would have probably plunged to her death. So some quite dramatic filming on Revenge of the Cybermen.
Absolutely.
So what else have we got? Patrick Troughton does not appear in episode 4 as he was on holiday. Good old Doctor's taking a week off in the black and white era of Doctor Who in particular.
I love that. I love when they do that. Now when you want to take a week off, like in like Doctor Who or Sarah Jane, you'd have the Doctor Light episode. Or the Sarah Jane Light episode, which they're not taking a week off, they're just filming the other episodes.
Yes, exactly.
In Classic Who, they just don't appear, or it's like, oh no, they're asleep.
Yeah, literally, for this one, it was the Doctor is seen only as an unconscious figure with Tom Laird doubling for Troughton with his face out of vision. So it's just like they just find a reason to knock him out for a week so they can have a week off and go on holiday. It's just quite funny the way they did that in Classic Who, I always thought. Right, I've had a tweet from David Randall to try and clarify whatever he was trying to say. The Doctor said nothing remains, just me. Then we had a Shilda, and at the end of the universe, only me remained. So yeah,
that's quite clever. I don't know if that's intentional.
I'd imagine not.
But it is nice. There was something else recently that. There was an episode that like meant that something else. No, that was it. The Times Children makes the hybrid prophecy.
Oh well, that's just ridiculous, though. That's I don't like that because.
Right. Why?
Because Hellbent does give you 3 or more possible answers to what the hybrid arc could and should be. Yeah. So why do we need it to hang over and be supposedly fulfilled 3 series later?
Because it's called a prophecy. It doesn't mean that that's what it's talking about.
I don't know. Let us know in the chat, guys. What do you think? Do you think that Hellbent resolves the hybrid arc, or do you think the Timeless Children resolves the hybrid arc? Personally, I prefer the Hellbent solution. Initially, I would have liked a creature like the Cyberlords being the solution, but I felt like it made narrative sense and completed the arc of the series by having the hybrid being the Doctor and Clara.
But he didn't say that it was the Doctor and Clara. It's conjecture. The whole thing of the hybrid is conjecture. Is it the Doctor and Clara? Is it me? Is it like isn't it like the Doctor and the Daleks at some point? Wow. It's like
initially it's the Time Lord Dalek hybrid. Then it's could it be a Shilda? Then it's could it be the Doctor because he's half human? Then it's could it be the Doctor and Clara together? I think are the options we get.
And
So
now we
no,
get another.
it is true. I prefer to think of it as an additional option rather than a like conclusion, and that's the definitive answer personally.
But to answer the original question, I like stuff like that where it's like
Yes.
I don't want it to be like, oh, I must wrap up this other thing that someone else has written. But if it fits, that's really nice.
Yeah.
And that's quite nice. It's quite nice to spot those things.
Right. What else have we got here? Have you ever read Lung Barrow?
No.
Because it's
a Mark Platt
someone said,
story.
"Do you like the big revelation in Lung Barrow?"
I don't know what the big revelation is. It's a Mark Platt story.
That's the looms, the whole looms thing, isn't it?
The what?
That's the looms thing. Do you know about looms?
I know about loom bands. They were like crazy, weren't they? Like 10 years ago.
So I don't know, but from what I know, I've never read Lung Barrow. From what I know, this is a non-canon thing that was written in the like Virgin New Adventures type stories, where supposedly
You use the word non-canon.
Well, wait until I tell you what.
Okay.
It's supposedly that all Time Lords were grown in looms, and they weren't born in the same way that like they're thought of. So like they were like grown in like batches, I think was the idea, like grown as adults. They were never children.
Oh. So, but I've never thought of a Time Lord being born. So I don't like.
How does a Time Lord start?
I don't know. As a loon, I guess, or just like they say it's like a time dog, but it is a thing. Like, do they just age like 40, like 40 years in 1 year, sort of thing, and then not for the rest of their lives? It's interesting. That's quite a fun idea.
I'm gonna try and find out more, or let us know in the chat a bit more about that, because I haven't read it, so like I can't really give enough information about looms in Doctor Who.
Loon's like a test tube. Is a loon? What is a loon? Is it like a test tube or like
looms or breeding? This is from TARDIS Wikia. Hold on. Looms or breeding engines were devices used by the great houses of the Time Lords to perpetuate their race. Unable to procreate sexually, the Time Lords had to rely on these Rassilon invented devices to weave new life from base matter and biodata.
This sounds like This utterly sounds like the Virgin New Adventures. I've never read.
Thank you. So I told you.
That sounds like it fits right in.
Yes, so pre-Time War, looms had frames with a mesh of 1 million fine cords, which sang with the wind and microscopic data flowing down themselves, as well as stores of semiotic fluid in which embryos formed.
Just reminds me. It just reminds me of the Sontarans.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Looms smelled of tangy celestial potential.
Well, that's good to know in case we ever stumble across tangy whatever that was. Then we know what the smell is. When
someone was loomed, they would be dripping wet when pulled out of the weft of cords by another Time Lord. And this references the Human Nature book as well, by the way. So this was like canon in the Human Nature book.
Oh, really? I think I've got the Human Nature book, but I haven't read it yet.
So yeah, it was just. I think it was just like the kind of alternative way that Time Lords began their lives. That was, and the one entertaining thing I saw was I saw some random YouTube video recently that was from an interview just before Series 11 with, among other people, Chris Chibnall, Matt Strevens, and maybe Jodie, where the host for some reason asked about Lung Barrow and about looms to Chris Chibnall, and are you going to make looms canon in the next series of Doctor Who? And then,
Matt Strevens says nothing else is canon apart from my series.
Firstly, I think either Chris or the presenter then asked the studio audience, about 100 people, if they knew what Lung Barrow / looms was, and I think 2 people put their hands up to say yes. And clearly Chris had some sort of knowledge of it, but he kind of shut the question down and was like, no, we're not going near that in Series 11, basically. But then he did obviously go and do Time Lord origin story in Series 12, which I thought was quite entertaining, but yes.
Yeah, but even in that, he doesn't say how they're born or like how you can a Time Lord comes into life.
It's actually, yeah, he did leave that very clear. Right, we've got a few comments now, so we should probably have a look through some of these. Right. There's so many. The only theory that fits the hyper prophecy entirely is the Doctor and Clara. Any other theory doesn't fit completely to all the requirements.
I can't remember what the requirements are.
Because, well, what was it? The hybrid would stand in its ruins, or like stand in the ruins of Gallifrey, or something like that. Which, to be fair, the Cyberlords could be.
And so could me, because she's there at the end of the universe, and that is the ruins of everything.
Apparently, so Lungbarrow revealed that the Doctor was in fact a being called the Other, which predated much of Time Lord history and had a possibly mysterious origin.
Oh,
So that was where the whole Other storyline became
right.
written out, which was meant to be in season 27, but never happened, of
Yeah.
course.
I love that stuff.
Yeah,
I don't
I really
think-
would have wished that had happened in on TV.
I
Personally.
don't know. I don't know because that's the sort of stuff where it's brilliant. It's like in Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the first Wizarding War and everything about like Albus Dumbledore and Grindelwald is so big in my head, so like imaginative and so like out there that whatever I see on screen would disappoint me. So
Yeah.
that's a similar thing with the other. I don't really
Okay.
want
Yeah.
it on. I don't want it to be prescribed as a thing. I'd rather just think about it and like be, like the wonder of it. Yeah.
But do you fundamentally like the idea that we got in the Timeless Children of the Doctor being more important than a normal Time Lord?
I don't mind.
I know it's a very big question, but
I don't mind.
I mean, yeah, I agree.
To me, it doesn't change the character at all.
Exactly.
It changes other characters around her, but we never really see them, and the whole of Gallifrey is destroyed at the moment. So
yeah. I mean, like, I certainly don't think that the previous incarnations make any difference because, as far as I'm concerned, Hartnell is still the first Doctor of the current cycle and what the Doctor knows and remembers, and
Doctor Who is a television show.
Indeed.
So the character of the first Doctor will always be William Hartnell.
Indeed, that's never going to change, no matter what they write afterwards. So. Yeah, I mean, but I'm still sure that Ruth is pre-Hartnell. I know we did obviously discuss that article in the week, didn't we?
Yeah, we've had lots of discussions about this, but
I'm very confident that Ruth is pre-Hartnell.
I am very confident that she's lying about not knowing what the Sonic Screwdriver is and not knowing who Jodie is. Okay. I'm not saying that she's where she is. I don't know, but I'm convinced she's lying. But I love the idea.
Again, then?
I really hope so. I'm sort of like praying we do because I love her. But I love the idea for kids that anyone could be the Doctor. That was the story. That like anyone you meet could be the Doctor, which is great.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Right, what else have we got here? We've got another mention on the hybrid. The point of the hybrid is that all those things could be the hybrid. It's an abstract concept. The Doctor and Clara becoming the hybrid tied up all the themes of Series 9 perfectly.
That's a very good way of saying what I was trying to say earlier.
There we go. So thank you to Paul Android for that.
Thank you.
A loom is what you weave on. There are some Greek myth figures, the Fates, who weave people's fates or something. That does ring a bell.
A loom is also the loom like elastic bands, weren't they? There's like tiny elastic bands that you made stuff with. They were called like loom bands. I swear my little sister had some years ago. So I'm sure that was a thing, not me.
I mean, yeah, if you want to sometime, David, have a read of the TARDIS Wiki page on looms, please do. There's a long old page about lots of, and it's all just referencing. It's only referencing books, of course, because there's no TV canonicity to this. But
I was going to say, was the looms thing from the actual like ancient, like the weaving loom on the TARDIS Wiki? Or was that a comment?
That was a comment.
Oh, that was a comment. I was going to say that would be brilliant if it was on there as well.
Stephen Moffat said that it was reasonable to assume that Time Lords met and married and mated in much the same way humans did. He acknowledged some highly invented material in the version of New Adventures books contradicting this, and described the New Adventures as a separate and equally valid continuity to the modern BBC Wales TV series. When after Series 11 would confirm the existence of looms, Chris Chibnall said he had not read Lungbarrow as he had not been able to find a copy. That's the video clip I've seen. Which does ring a bell now. Yeah, like he'd heard of it, but he'd never read it because basically you can't get a hold of a copy of the book. I think it's out of print or something, so it's really hard to get hold of it. But what do you think about Stephen saying it's a separate and equally valid continuity?
I think that's the same way as like in this novelization of the Day of the Doctor. There's a chapter of Night of the Doctor, like the Eighth Doctor's final story, and afterwards the narrator asks Sahelia, he's like, I once asked her what was in the goblet, and she was like, gin and dry ice. And he's like, as I lit her cigar, she told me it was gin and dry ice. Do you know what I mean? That's so ridiculous, but brilliant.
Yeah.
But it stands as continuity because it's in a Doctor Who licensed book.
It's true. It's very true.
It's exactly the same as that. I think Stephen Moffat. Yeah, I think that answers it really.
Right. Oh yes, the Cartmel master plan. That is obviously the whole story of the Island of the Other and everything. Rassilon overthrew the Pythia, who ruled over Gallifrey before the Time Lords. In revenge, they cursed them by making all Gallifreyans sterile, and they became the Sisterhood of Khan. Apparently that's part of the story, according to Paul Android. The cult of Pythia evolved to be the Sisterhood of Khan. So there you go. Cool.
Nice.
I suspect Chibnall was inspired by Lungbarrow, i.e. he nicked the best bits. I don't think so, given he said he hasn't read Lungbarrow. I'm not convinced he has. I don't know. I feel like The Timeless Children was basically Chris Chibnall's fan fiction from like when he was a kid. Would be my gut feeling is that it's what he always wanted to do with the show, and like he didn't feel like he could quite get away with it in his first series, but now he was just like, yeah, let's just do it. Why not? I don't care anymore. I'm just going to roll with it. Who cares if he gets the lowest viewing because of New Who? It doesn't matter, because it did. But there we go.
But that how will we ever know, like, if he has or not, if he hasn't? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, that's
it's true.
Complete conjecture, either way.
Yeah, exactly. Why discount the Virgin novels? They had BBC license. It's very true.
Exactly, Elliot.
They were canon in the 90s, but then I guess like the kind of New Who has kind of overwritten bits of it is probably the problem.
I think I don't like getting into subjects of Doctor Who canon because also start contradicting you, but it's just the thing of everything is canon and nothing is canon. It's like the BBC have never. I don't think the BBC have ever stated what is canon and what isn't canon.
Unless you're Matt Stevens.
Yeah, apart from Matt Stevens. Over email. But like, it hasn't Star Wars given out a list of what books canon, what aren't.
I think they have. I don't like that.
Yeah, exactly, and I don't think that's in the spirit of the show.
Yeah.
So.
Right. I mean, there's more about looms, but I feel like we should probably move on from looms now.
There's so many. Say the word looms.
The thing with the Timeless Child is that we only have the Master's word for it, that it's the Doctor's, that it's the Doctor. How did he find that out, since it was explicitly stated in the Matrix who it was? So yeah, it wasn't. The Matrix didn't tell us. It was just the Master telling us that.
Yeah.
So it could all be a lie, and it could be that the Master saying everything you think you knew was a lie is actually a lie.
Yes, but I don't understand why you do it.
I mean, yeah, it's true. Yeah, like there's no motive for the Master to do this because he seems full of rage at this fact. And like, I don't feel like he'd react that way if he knew it was all a lie that he was just concocting to put the Doctor through the ringer, as it were, or bring her down or something. I don't really know.
There'd be some overall plan for it.
But I'll have to see if that gets picked up again. I don't know if it will. Like, I mean, the Master. I think Sacha Dhawan's Master will stand up again in the Jodie era. Personally,
I hope so. I love him.
Yeah, it's great. I really want him back, but I don't know quite where the story's going to go next and where the whole Timeless Child arc will continue from here. Like, does it need to be explored anymore?
I think it will be with Jo Martin. I think you'll see her again, and she'll explain more about bits of it, or discover it herself.
Yeah,
or discover it with Jodie.
One brilliant idea. I can't remember if I think actually I saw it on Twitter somewhere. Was in series 13 if they were to do a single episode that was the Jo Martin Doctor. Yeah. Where and complete surprise as well. So like do promotional photos for that episode with Jodie, and then suddenly just start the episode and the Jo Martin Doctor steps out of the TARDIS and it's suddenly a Jo Martin episode. Wouldn't that just be the most amazing thing? Like I'd absolutely adore it if they did that.
I don't need the promotion sort of thing of Jodie and it to be a lot. Just do it.
I don't know. I just think it'd be amazing to have that pure shock value of suddenly, like, it's not the Doctor you're expecting turning up for a week for an episode. I think it'd just be so cool. Yeah.
That'd be quite incredible.
So yeah, I think that'd be a way to do it. Virgin New Adventures are where canon really gets muddled because they introduce so many ideas that are used in Big Finish, which is supposedly canon to the show according to things like the name of the Doctor. Oh, the nice the Doctor even, of course. So if Big Finish is canon, that makes a lot of the Virgin New Adventures stuff canon. And we really need to stop talking about canon. Have you listened to any of the Big Finish 10th Doctor audios?
The which ones?
Big Finish 10th Doctor audios.
Yes.
Do you like them? Because I haven't heard any of them.
Mixed, I think. Okay. There's one which is called... Hang on, I've got the two of them here. I'm going to have a look. I've got the first two sets physically, and then I'll listen to the other one. There's one called The Sword of the Chevalier, which is all about this person in 1791. And no one knows if it was a man or a woman, but it was a person who pretended to be a spy or a diplomat and was constantly sort of getting into trouble with different countries and had to move around. They had the most incredible life, and it's all true.
Yeah.
And so that story I thought was fantastic,
Mhm.
and a story that I'd never heard before, and I thought that was great.
Right.
Yeah, the other two, there's one with Jackie Tyler, which is sort of set in a TV show, like
Okay.
being like recorded on Earth, which is quite cool. They're cool. I'd say about these, I don't think they're the most adventurous or the most imaginative.
Right.
It's like,
Okay.
what can we do to really get that era right
Yeah.
and sort of do standards of that era, which is
Okay.
great and
Yeah.
is really enjoyable. But
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh my god, I heard that, and yeah, that was so out there. The other one that I thought loved was a Roy Gill story, which was set in the fog of the 1950 whatever it was, the London
Okay.
fog.
Oh yeah.
Which excellent story. Like the whole everything that I've seen written about that, like The Crown did it.
Mhm.
Everything I've seen written about that has been brilliant. But I
Very
loved that.
nice.
It's really good. Yeah.
Very cool. Daniel Cox says maybe the Valeyard captured the Master and brainwashed him with false Matrix information. I mean,
That-
I do think it would be quite funny if Chris Chibnall was the person to bring back the Valeyard when he was the one going on TV slating Trial of a Time Lord.
yeah. Who would you have playing?
Who would I have play the Valeyard?
Or her?
I sense you have an idea, given you've asked me that question.
No, I'm asking you, so I have a time to think about it.
I really don't. I don't know. Because I
There's-
want him to be a different. You don't want him to be a rehash of the Masters. I think it's the
No.
important point. So you don't want to cast somebody who you think could be the Master. It's almost got to be somebody who you kind of feel would be a good Doctor, but is a bit evil.
Do you know who I would cast? One of my favourite actresses. I can't say her name correctly. It's Nina Sosoima.
Oh yes, I know who you mean, from W1A among other things.
And in Doctor Who, I'd cast her.
She was in Fear Her, wasn't she?
Yeah,
Yes. To be fair, yeah, she does. Yeah, she could be quite good.
she could be terrifying. Actually, I think she'd have it. She'd have the eyes to be terrifying.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. I like that. Some Golden Apple reviews asked, "What is your favourite series of Doctor Who?"
9.
Yay! You agree with me? It's good.
Very simple.
Yeah, I will always stick with Series 9, no matter what. People hate me for it. Like, whenever I say it in videos, they're like, how can you say this? It's awful. I feel like Series 9 is one of the few series that has gone down in people's opinions since it aired. Because I remember the critical reception was amazing at the time. Like, every single episode was getting amazing reviews and the fans were really positive towards it. But since then, it's gone down a lot, I think.
I adore it because I think it's just out there and it's so different.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stories are much, much darker.
Yeah.
And it just did loads of things that you wouldn't normally do in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And I love doing something that's different. I love Sleep No More. I don't think many other people
Actually,
do.
I saw somebody asked about Sleep No More earlier.
Did they? Sorry,
I missed that one.
I think just the fact that they did that was brilliant.
I like the concept of doing it differently like that, but I don't know. It just as a story, it's never quite done it for me. I mean, I think the most damning thing was I fell asleep watching it one time, which I never do with a Doctor Who episode, and that was what made kind of put me off it to an extent. Was just the fact that it wasn't doing it for me so much that I fell asleep during it.
Yeah,
it's not ideal.
No, and I think it's what makes people tick. Do you know what I mean? Different things like I love the fact that you can't see what's going on half the time. The Doctor doesn't win. And I think Reece Shearsmith is brilliant in it, how he talks to you. And then the footage itself becomes sort of like the monster and you're infected. I think that's great.
Yes, no, I do like that idea. That is cool. That is a really good way of doing it. Right, we probably should wrap up pretty soon because it's 5:30, I've just realised.
Oh, is it?
We'll be going for a while. So we'll answer the last couple of questions. What else have we got here? Have you ever seen Haunts of Nymon?
No.
Oh, I mean, it's a great.
Sorry.
It's an entertaining story. It's probably the best way to describe it. It's the classic like over the top performance of a Doctor Who story by what's his name? I can't actually remember the guy. Graham Crowden, I think his name is. Who plays the main villain. Basically, he was asked to be the Fourth Doctor and turned it down. And then he turned up for Haunts of Nymon as the villain and basically was playing who can be more hammy in their performance with Tom Baker. And it's so over the top, it's hilarious. So
is the Haunts of Nymon where that picture's from with Tom Baker in like a green setting with a piece of rock that goes out? Like that might not mean anything to you.
Do you mean where do you mean the inappropriate one where he's holding the green thing?
Yeah.
That's Creature from the Pit. Because that is the creature in the Creature from the Pit.
That's the creature?
Yes. It's like a massive green blobby thing.
Right, okay, yeah.
So yes. Right, I think we're going to leave it there because Rassilon starts pretty soon, among other things.
Yeah, and what better question to leave it on?
Yeah, Horns of Daimon and inappropriate monsters from Classic Who. Well, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this. Have you enjoyed this, David? Has it been good fun?
I loved it. Thank you.
The question is, would you come
Me?
again? Would you come and do it again?
Absolutely. And thank you for everyone sending in their questions and comments.
Yes, thank you guys. It's been real fun. I'm sorry we got a bit bogged down in continuity and canon, but it's fine. We'll try and stick more to the just questions about the show than about what is and isn't canon. And we won't mention looms next time. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this stream. And I think me and Megan are going to do a stream in this week where we're going to watch Cold War because we never reacted to it, but we did watch it at the time, and it's the next episode in Megan Reacts. So,
sorry, are you using my stream to promote the other?
I would like to clarify, David. At the end of my stream with Megan the other day, I promoted this stream.
Oh, did you? Okay, fair enough.
I'm not just doing it to promote Megan's videos. I am also promoting yours when I can. And there'll be various videos this week as well, of course. So I hope you guys are able to enjoy those then. But apart from that, guys, I'm sure David as well. We'll see you guys again very soon. Goodbye.